I will say that who's the main actor in this? What's his name?
Jim Varney.
He's great.
He's great.
He's really
gone way too soon. That guy was because there's a point. There's 2 points in this thing, and they do a really good job of bringing it back, where he's trying to explain to Kenny how he can deal with the bullies. He's got to get the high ground, like the Botswanans did. But little tiny Botswana fought off the Ottoman Empire, which of course is bullshit. That never happened. But he tells the story of it in, like, he's telling the story, but he's playing all these different characters, and the way that they show it in the movie is actually dress him up as all these characters that he's playing. An ancient Roman, like Julius Caesar, an Ottoman soldier, for some reason, a woman who cares mostly about fashion, a World War I fighter pilot, a lumberjack, all these, and he's got completely different voices and characterizations for all these. There's another woman who's one of her famous characters, Nelda, who's the woman who talks like this. And I, realizing watching this, I had forgotten all about that they did this here in the beginning, talking about building the treehouse, and then later, as they're defeating all the trolls, he does it again. And I had forgotten all about it, and I was like, is this where I decided, like somewhere in the back of my mind watching this is like, that's what I want to do. I want to have like 75 different voices that I do. And maybe that's where I got it from watching Jim Varney do all of his crazy characters. It may have been, but like he could have played literally any part you wanted him to in any kind of comedy at that time. But he found this gold with this Ernest P. Worrell character, and I think he made 10 movies
or something like that. Yeah,
Ernest, and then he had the Ernest Saturday morning TV show was where my brother and I first like found him and loved all of his stuff, and then we got into the movies after that. Still, Ernest Saves Christmas is a yearly watch in my household. There is not a December that will go by that I will not watch Ernest Saves Christmas. It's one of the purest, like sweetest, most sincere holiday movies ever made. It's really, really good and always funny. So yeah, I've always loved Jim Varney, and he was one of the first like movie stars that when they died, I was like,
rock.
That really, really hurts that he's gone, because like it just feels like, I mean, it's one of those guys I would have loved to have met, and told him like how much he meant to my development as a kid turning into a little actor, you know. But yeah, I think he's great. Now of course the big happy thing that happens at the end, of course, is that at one point Rimshot, his little dog, is turned into a little wooden figure, and at the end, when all the kids come back, Ernest is very sad because, as he says, "There's nothing in that tree for me." And then Rimshot jumps out of his truck and runs over, and he kisses the dog and loves the dog, and it's a very, very cute moment.
Can I tell you how emotional that actually made me? Because
I believe it.
Not only like does Rimshot come back, but like you do realize he saves the day, and he's completely alone minutes after.
Yeah,
everybody goes back with their families. The one friend he made in this process, Mrs. Hadmore, like has her family back now, and he's just sitting there alone, and he just saved everything after nobody listening to it. I was like, oh my God, that actually like got me. And then of course I love dogs, and they're the best people in the world, so that got me too. But like because he, especially in like the early 90s, playing an idiot wasn't done with taste really ever.
No.
And he has this innocence and this likability about him, and he is trying to save the day the whole time, and he's honestly putting like a sincere effort into it. Like he plays this perfectly, and he has to, if you want to argue that this movie works, which is a fair argument, I think a lot of it is reliant on the fact that he does well with everything comedic timing wise. He does well with everything character wise. But like, there's also this thing that makes it seem like he is like disabled in some way or just plain dumb, whatever. Like, and it's like whenever anybody acknowledges that, it's terrible as an actor. Like when the actor playing it acknowledges it, he doesn't for a second. This is just honestly who he is, and his heart is of a kid. It's an unconditional loving heart, and I just loved all of that. So when that moment happened at the end where he's just alone, it did kind of make me like, oh God, like that was rough, but really, really good performance from him in a movie that, like, this is one of those ones where it's like, do I get the flick out of here or not? Like, I can't say it's a bad movie, but it's completely what it is. I think it's a kids movie. Like, it's a great way to introduce children to horror tropes if you want to do so in a way that's not going to terrify them, but will scare them in the right ways. Like, this is a perfect textbook for that. I think the acting of little Kenny in this is pretty good too. Like, it's an easy enough watch that I wouldn't say get the flick out of here for the reason that like you would with Ghoulies.
Right.
But I just like, I don't need to like watch a kid's Halloween movie.
No.
But if you're gonna, like, I would rank this over Spooky Buddies.
Yes.
RESPECT. Click the subscribe button and find out what it means to me. Nah, that doesn't have a ring to it. But if you like videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, subscribe now.